The Survivor 50 trailer is finally here, and so today I will be doing something a little bit outside the box and analyzing every single frame of the Survivor 50 trailer in order to see what we can glean from it, what little predictions, little tidbits and morsels I can find in the trailer in order to try to predict what I think is going to happen on Survivor Season 50. I'll be going over it all, analyzing the edit, doing all this stuff, and I'm super excited to get into it. We have some very interesting revelations already that I know I've discovered throughout this, so stay tuned to see all of the little bits that I can find throughout this. I will say, I think I found some potentially real spoilers in this one. Some stuff that might actually be some concrete evidence of stuff that might happen later in this season, just going off of the initial Survivor 50 trailer. So I will be saving anything that I believe is like a real spoiler of some kind until the end. I will be going through the whole thing, just gleaming the obvious, talking about my predictions based on, screen time, based on inclusions and clips, analyzing, trying to figure out who I think that is in a shot, all that kind of stuff. And then my little tidbits that I actually think might be spoilers, I will not point out until the very end of the video. So you can watch the whole thing without any official spoilers to be had if you would like, and then not watch the very end. So with all that said, let's hop into it. I've got the trailer here. I'm super excited. This might be a long one. Let's get into it. And we're going to press play. So here we have, of course, Survivor 50 trailer starting out. We get some smoke here. Pretty exciting. Nothing too much to glean from these initial frames here. We see the 50 logo being revealed in the smoke. Let's go back a couple frames here to the actual reveal of the logo. We can see it in the back there. It says "In the hands of the fans," official title. This is, very clear revelation here. We know the title is in the hands of the fans. It is on the logo in the trailer. They're sticking with it. It hasn't got away. It wasn't just a marketing gimmick. It is on the logo. We do see that kind of old Borneo style logo here with the golden 50 on it. We don't see the top of the logo, but we are safe to presume it's on my hat, right? It is Survivor 50, probably looking like the logo. It's going to be cut out a little bit because of the green in the trees. But Survivor 50, official. Here we are in the smoke. Really intense, dramatic way to open up the trailer. And then, boom, here we are with our first shot of the season outside of the logo. Very exciting. We do see Fiji Airways written on the tag here. So we know they're going to Fiji. There's a little logo there. It's kind of hard to decipher what the logo. It looks like the Target logo to me. I doubt it's the Target logo, but it could be. It's just like a little circle. We do get someone's backpack here with the tags weaving. It's kind of difficult to tell who this person with the backpack on is. It does appear to be a dark colored shirt. Kind of looks like a suit to me. When we get a little bit further here, some things start being revealed. We see some kind of a reddish, purplish patterned shirt underneath this supposed suit jacket. We do see the Survivor 50 logo tag pop out here as well, and even point that out. In the hands of the fans, once again, still there. Good to know. We'll go a little bit more obvious. We can see in the background, this is our first glimpse of this officially being revealed, as people know by now. Savannah in the background. That's very clearly Savannah's sweater that she wore in Survivor 49. In the background, she's wearing it again, so that's a big reveal there. If we kind of go through these frames as well, we're trying to see who else is on the right here. We see someone with a dark shirt with some light blue, like a light blue dress shirt rolled up on sleeves underneath some kind of overshirt. If I had to predict, this is maybe looking like a Rick Devens right now over here. I feel like he wears that type of rolled up sleeve look. Over behind our suspected Devens, we get someone else, a little bit tough to tell as well. Someone appears to have an orange shirt, probably blondish hair, red pants. It's really tough to say who that is right now. Oh, they turn to look. Who is this? I'm not totally sure who this is. We will potentially find this out later in the trailer. We'll take a look out for red pants. And I do believe our main suspect here, I'm gonna say, we're looking at gray pants as well. Kind of like a gray pants, I think, with the dark blazer over some kind of sweater. I'm thinking maybe this is Kyle. I think that he has a sort of blazer look later in the trailer. We'll take a look. This is obviously, we see them walking on the airway. They're going to the plane to take off to go to Fiji to film Survivor 50. So this is prior to the game. Pretty epic seeing these shots. Do we know that this was actually filmed before the season? We're not positive, right? It's probably pretty likely, but it's possible that this wasn't filmed until after, pick up shots and whatnot. But if this is filmed before the season, we know that the cast does know who each other are. Right? It's not going to be a surprise. It's not going to be like the original All-Star season where they're shocked at who else is out there on the beach with them when the other tribes walk in. It does appear that they are, at least as we can tell now, all together on the runway. Although, it's possible they're separated by tribes, and we have noticed it's maybe too early to tell, but we shall see. Okay, so now here we have a new shot. We can see the airplane. It's got some really nice detailing there on the plane. And we get some very clear shots of some of these people here. Of course, we have Jonathan Young. Our first, I would say, well, maybe not first. I would say Savannah is pretty confirmed with the sweater. But this is quite obviously the back of Jonathan Young here. He's got a bag. He's got a I don't even know what you call that. It looks like it's a buff. It looks like a buff around his head. Not an actual buff, but like a fake buff. And he's looking massive. If we take a look over in the corner, we have some other people here, which we can try to examine who they are. This, as we will find out later, and we can tell right now, is in fact Colby. He's got his kind of denim shirt on this season. So that's pretty cool. If we go ahead a few frames, I do believe we have Ozzy in front of him with the camo shirt on. We can actually enhance the video a little bit here. Enhance. Not Russell Hance or Brandon, just enhance. So we do see what I believe is Ozzy here. It's kind of difficult to tell who's in front of Ozzy. I do believe this is Charlie right here, right in front of Ozzy. We can see a little bit of that blue striped shirt, which we get some glimpses of later in the trailer. The person in front of Charlie is pretty difficult to tell. Looks like some dark hair. We could be thinking Angelina. It's tough to say. If we move back a little bit, we get someone here, which I don't even know what to think of who this is. I'm almost at a loss for words here. We get someone in walking here with like a really crazy looking blue shirt, some short shorts, and looks like some blue shoes and socks. Probably someone that's gonna be wearing a lot of blue. I believe Aubry wears outfits similar to that, although this doesn't look like Aubrey's hair to me. But it could be Aubry, and it's just a little bit difficult to tell. This is looking like Camilla in front of this figure to me. Kind of a light yellow shirt with some blue pants here. That does appear to be Camilla, if I had to predict. And this does look like an Aubrey-ish outfit here, but the hair is really throwing me off. It really does not look like Aubry hair to me, but tough to say. So we can revert this back to normal size as we move along here. And we will listen to the audio for a little bit.
Start with a quote from Magellan. I'll start with a quote from Magellan. Life is for the bold.
So here we are. We get the start of a awesome quote from the Coach Wade. First person to speak in the trailer. Pretty epic. Starting with a quote from Magellan, which we will hear more of as we go along. Here we have a shot of some people's legs. If we start looking at the beginning of the shot, we very clearly, this is the first like definite face we see. This is, of course, Joe Hunter in the background. He's got a purple polo on, some like kind of grayish shorts. Very clearly looking at Joe in the background here. So this, I mean, if we didn't count the other sightings as confirmed, you can definitely count this as a confirmed Joe Hunter sighting. First person we can see the face of in the trailer. If we go forward a little bit, we can see another face in the background. I do believe that is the face of Stephenie, I think, right? It's a little bit tough to say for sure, but I do believe that's the face of Stephenie wearing a blue shirt with a kind of over, like a very like kind of tealish light blue shirt with like a very light, like kind of a light blue overshirt. I do believe Angelina wears a shirt like that later, but it does definitely look like Stephenie to me. We also, of course, get Colby again right on the left side there with his denim shirt. And we see, again, we see this bag that someone is carrying. We see, again, Fiji Airways. We get another tag of Fiji Airways with a little thing that says storage, I think, on it probably. So, or baggage. Probably not storage, probably baggage makes more sense. It is a flight. So that makes sense. Baggage going into baggage. This figure, it took me a long time to figure out who I think this figure is, and we'll get a little bit better glimpse later. We do see this kind of red patterned flannel here. It's a little bit tattered and ripped up a little bit over what looks like another white flannel. This could be a scarf, perhaps, or it could be like attached to the red flannel. It's tough to say. And then we get these kind of like light tan cargo pants, it appears. And also probably another shirt underneath there. It's pretty tough to see the shirt. Now we do see Mike White later with a similar kind of red patterned shirt, but it's not the same pattern. I have taken a look at it, and we'll take a look later. I think this is D. I think this is D right here. It's pretty tough to tell. But based on the clothing that we will see later, I think we get D walking with Colby and Joe and Stephenie here. Is my best prediction based on this. So let it play.
Life is for the bold to seize the opportunity when it comes.
Now we did get a little glimpse of someone else in the background. We don't really see who it is. It's someone holding walkable luggage of some kind. Can't really see what it is. Oh, it could be luggage as well, the tag. So so many potential things.
To seize the opportunity when it comes.
Okay, so seize the opportunity when it comes. Thank you, Coach Wade. We had another shot here, and there's a lot to talk about with this shot. We, of course, at the very beginning of this shot, this is definitely Charlie Davis right here. Got the tan khakis. Got the, these like kind of gray shoes, I guess. And of course, this blue striped shirt. We saw it earlier in front of Ozzy. And once again, here he is in the blue striped shirt. Pretty clearly Charlie. And once again, here we have someone with these kind of like, fairly short, it appears like jean shorts, jorts, if you will. And some light blue socks and blue shoes. I do believe this is Aubry based on clothing we see her wear later in the trailer. Could be Chrissy potentially as well, but I think it aligns more closely with Aubry's clothing. So it's very possible that this is the shot of the same person that we pegged as Aubry earlier in the trailer. Hopefully we're doing something right. We also have over in the corner here, we have what I think is almost certainly Christian Hubicki, with also tan khakis, as well as this brown, like professor looking blazer. Definitely a Christian Hubicki looking blazer over here. So I think we can say that for sure. Now, the biggest thing going on here is if we really, really zoom in, if we super duper enhance this whole thing, we will see a lot of figures in the background already by the plane waiting to board. Over here by the wheel of the plane, we can see, I believe this is got to be Joe right here. This looks like the same purple polo that we just saw him in. We know that he was walking over there. We also see what I'm pretty sure is Ozzy right here next to the knee. We see a little bit of that kind of camo shirt he's wearing, and his kind of mullet hairstyle he has on this season. So I believe we have Ozzy and Joe. Over here on the left is a little bit difficult to tell. I think this is Tiffany, but it could be Cirie. I'm not positive who has hair like that in this trailer, but I do think it looks like Tiffany to me. This person right here next to Joe, to what would be Joe's left, right side of the screen, a little bit more difficult to tell. We can't really, it looks like this person is wearing a mask to me. I don't know if that's true. It might not even be a person at all. It's pretty tough to tell. If I had to predict, I probably would predict that this is Jonathan Young. Mostly probably because of, if this isn't a mask, this could be Jonathan Young's beard, and the quality of the video, since he's so far away, it kind of just looks like it's like a dark blob when it's actually his beard. Also looks like a pretty tall person, so I think it's a pretty fair prediction. And we got a few other people. This could be Savannah. We see a little bit of red, like a red patterned shirt potentially back there. We know that Savannah was walking around earlier, so this could be her in the background behind Joe right there. And there seems to be at least one other person that we can't really see at all. We also get this probably worker person in a yellow vest. Probably not someone of note, really. And that's the best we can glean from that shot. So pretty good. We're already getting quite a few cast members here and a few recurring people. We've seen Colby in a few shots. We've seen Joe in a few shots. We've seen Aubry and Charlie in a few shots. So, I mean, we're gleaming this cast pretty quickly as we go along this trailer.
Souls that stay close to shore.
Stay close to shore. Coach Wade continuing with his quote. We do see what is quite obviously Ozzy here in the camo shirt, like feeling his hair, I guess. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's holding his head. He's got a headache, probably, you know. Oh boy, I gotta go back on Fiji. We see the Survivor 50 logo again. Really cool looking airplane here. And we see someone right to his right. We see a red shoulder right here, which is pretty tough to tell who this is. If I had to predict, I feel like this really could be Rizo. It is kind of a Rizo looking shirt. He does wear like kind of a reddish shirt like this in the trailer, but otherwise it's pretty tough to tell. So maybe Rizo hanging out with Ozzy here on the tarmac. We'll see.
It goes out in the storm that reap the high reward.
And then here we get the big official reveal of Colby's face. We did see a little bit of Joe and Stephenie's faces earlier, but this is the big, like, first actual close-up face shot of the trailer. Pretty epic. Coach's quote ends here, going out into the storm with kind of what I would say is arguably like kind of the original main character of Survivor, the show, in a way. And so for Colby to be the guy that's putting on his backpack here and going out into the storm as coach, and Magellan would say, pretty epic stuff here. We do see a little bit of Colby's tag here. Does look like what does it say? It's kind of difficult to see what this says. It says approved. Okay, so that's all we get. We get approved on Colby's luggage there. So we know that his backpack is approved to go on the plane. That's good. He's not smuggling anything in. So we could maybe glean that could be potentially from the Survivor crew approving this pack, that this is approved stuff to take with him onto Survivor. Could also just be airplane approved, I suppose. Maybe it's private flight, has to do that sort of thing. And now we get to where the frame-by-frame analysis is really going to come in handy, because this segment goes by pretty quickly. We get some music here. We get, of course, right here, the original Survivor logo that was shown during Survivor Borneo. I assume during every episode. I think this was usually shown at the end of the episode, probably also at the end of the title sequence. So pretty epic to see that here. And then, of course, we cut to the Australian Outback Season 2 with the Flames. Again, this is I believe the actual recordings from the season. And this is the case with every season that is shown here. The original things that were shown. So, I mean, we get Jenna from Borneo. We get Colby from the Australian Outback. Then we get Survivor Africa. We do not have representatives from Survivor Africa. So we are going to be seeing every single season represented here. That's pretty cool. This is a pretty good logo etched in. I believe the first physical logo we've seen. The first two were like graphics. This one is actually a physical thing printed on like a jar or something like that. Pretty cool looking. And then, of course, we get Marquesas. This is underwater on some piece of metal. Cool. Thailand does get represented here, etched in jewels. We get the Amazon on like some sort of wooden tree. It's a pretty cool looking one. Panama, we do get the actual full logo in color here, but it seems to be printed on some kind of map, like a pirate map. It's classic. The All-Stars logo, for some reason they skimped out on the All-Stars logo. It's just like a printed thing underwater, not etched into anything. That is what it is. The Vanuatu logo is like spinning around like crazy. We barely get to see it. Palau, tough to tell. It kind of looks like a printing, but it is a little bit physical. Guatemala, this is really well done. This is the Guatemala logo, but like recreated in full color, it seems, on like some kind of physical etching of some kind. This is a pretty neat one. Panama, Cook Islands, Fiji, China, not a whole lot to glean here. Just every season, just going to go through frame by frame, take a look at each one. The Gabon one, pretty cool. Definitely repainted here. The gorilla looks a little bit different here than it does in the actual logo, I believe, because it's hand-drawn this time. Tocantins logo, no color. Samoa, doesn't appear to have much for color. Here's Villains logo. Nicaragua, Redemption Island one's really cool looking. South Pacific, One World, Philippines. This is all one frame, by the way. I'm literally tapping the go forward bar just ever so slightly. So it is all like one frame per logo here. Caramoan, Blood vs. Water. We can take a look at all the logos. You can see them. If you didn't get to see them in the actual trailer, you get a little bit more time to be able to see each of them as we go along here. All the logos. Game Changers, for some reason, doesn't appear to have the actual logo. It was just like the words Survivor Game Changers written on some like planks of wood in front of a bunch of gobbledygook, I guess. So first time we don't actually see the real logo here. HHH, yep, here we are. All the seasons, some of them printed, some of them constructed. Now this is interesting because we don't actually get logo. We don't actually get title sequences for some of these later seasons. So these are probably from like commercials or from like the trailer for this season. Maybe they show them at the end of the episodes. I'm not positive. We get 41 on a flag here. That's pretty, honestly, pretty looking there. The 42 logo's on fire, 43, 44. And then we go back to having the title sequences with 45, 46, 47, 48, and 49 officially included here. Just happened. And so, yeah, looking good. So here we are, our first look at the beach. We're pretty deep into this, and we're finally getting to take a look at the beach.
Welcome to Survivor 50.
We get Jeff Probst saying, "Welcome to Survivor 50." Here he is. He's wearing the black hat and a black shirt. He's decked out. He's looking dark. He's looking cool. We're not able to tell a whole lot here. Before we take a look at that, let's take a look at this boat. We don't get a super great look at the boat. We don't really get to see a whole lot. We can't really see anything on the beach. Doesn't look like there's anything significant. We just see the island of Fiji back there. But we can take a look at this boat. And what we can see is some people there. We see some word right here. Kind of tough to tell what it is. Suva, maybe. Tough to tell. And we get to see some people over here. We see someone in a purple shirt. Two people in purple shirts, it looks like. So we could be looking at, like, maybe this could be Q, I believe. And maybe Joe is standing up right here. That's about all we can get, I think, from this boat. There's someone else here, but I believe this is just like a crew member. I don't think this is a castaway standing over here by the front of the boat, as we will see much later. So that is all we can get from the boat, and we can let it play. Now, before we get to that, we do get a little glimpse here. If you take a look in the bottom, what is our bottom right corner, it appears we have some buffs down here in some sacks, some binding around the buffs. So I think that's the best shot we really get. But I'm pretty sure that this has got to be buffs. So as of this shot, when Jeff is introducing Survivor 50 to the players, they have not gotten the buffs yet. And they do not assumingly know what tribe they are on, which we can't tell because it seems like a lot of the people, as we will see later in the trailer, are not wearing the correct color for their tribe. A lot of them are wearing a color of one of the tribes, but not the color of the tribe that we know they are actually on. So it seems like they did not know what tribes they were on prior to the game. They were not told to wear specific colored clothing, I guess, or at least not the right tribe color clothing. So it's very possible that that was kept secret because it's returning players. They could easily figure it out. So maybe that was kind of kept secret from them. It's also possible. I mean, we could be looking at a schoolyard pick or something like that. Maybe the tribes haven't been decided yet. The buffs are just sitting here. We don't see names on the buffs, so we don't know. Maybe they have to just pick them. Maybe it's just randomly assigned. It's tough to tell for sure how the buffs will be distributed, but they did not get their buffs prior to the game, so they do not know what tribe they are on. So that's pretty interesting info to get there from that shot right there. And then we can move this back in.
50.
So we can let it play. And now we get our first, well, not the first shot, but the first face shot of someone on the island itself. Coach Wade looking good. He's giving a nice little smirk there. We heard him in the intro sequence talking with the big quote. And he's the first person we see on the island. He's got a little bit older than he was before. This is definitely a current shot, but glad to see him. He's standing next to someone with some hair kind of flowing by him. So don't know who that is yet. Some dark hair. Cut to Stephenie. Here she is grabbing her hair. She's got wind blowing in her hair. And we do know later that is Jenna Lewis standing next to her. We do see her wearing what appears to be kind of a light blue colored tank top of some kind, which kind of goes in line with that shirt that we saw her wearing earlier on the tarmac. So that all adds up there. She's also got some bracelets on, which could become handy. You can make those into fish hooks. Who knows? We then see, of course, Rick Devens here with some kind of brownish hair next to him on the right side. To his left. We aren't sure who that is, but we do know that on his other side, we do in fact have Ozzy, of course, right here. And then next to Ozzy, we can tell that is Christian Hubicki standing there with his brown blazer on. So, and once again, we do see Rick with the sweater over the kind of the blue sweater of the light blue shirt, which adds up with that shot we saw from him earlier. We listen to Jeff a little bit here.
To represent 25 years of
Represent 25 years of Survivor. We get a big shot of Jenna Lewis, the the most tenured person on the cast, and whatever you say, from all the way back in season 1. She has the longest return of anyone in this cast, not from season 1, but from All Stars. And then we see, of course, this is a shot of Jenna Lewis, a photo. This does appear to be an old shot of Jenna Lewis from one of her older seasons, either Borneo or All Stars. I do not know what shot this is. I thought maybe this was her intro shot from one of those 2 seasons. It is not one of those 2 shots. So this just seems to be some sort of photo they had of her from the time. Jeff, he's saying a bunch of gobbledygook. We know what he's saying. We go through some smoke and then cut to Ozzy again. We get another shot of Ozzy here. This appears to be current Ozzy with his current haircut. So this is probably a photo for Survivor 50. So a little bit different there. We then go to a photo of Angelina. This is tough to say for sure what season this is from, but she is wearing like a tealish light blue tank top, it appears, which I do believe she does wear on Survivor 50. I'm not sure if she wears that at all in David versus Goliath, but as far as I'm concerned, this very well could be a Survivor 50 shot. She's got some ink on her face, or not ink, but like dirt or whatever. I don't know what you call it. So that is, she's in a warrior pose, so it looks like she's probably going hard at some point on this season, if we can glean anything from this. This is also pretty cool. This is reminiscent of the original Survivor intro sequences that usually had these kind of photos of people in a physical location. Nowadays, it's just shots of them from the season in action, but they used to use these photos like this. So this is very reminiscent of very classic Survivor here. We then kind of get this strange cut to Cirie. This does also appear to be a current photo of Cirie, because she's kind of been rocking these 2 braids recently. So that appears to probably be a Survivor 50 photo of Cirie. And then we go to a shot of Aubry. This is an older shot of Aubry. I know this is not this season. I did look up what buff this is, but I don't remember which one it is. But it is a yellow buff from one of her seasons. I think this is a Game Changers photo, if I had to predict. But it definitely is not Survivor 50. That we know for sure. We then get a shot of Mike White here. In a purple buff. This does appear to be a David versus Goliath buff. Definitely appears to be the David versus Goliath logo on the buff. If we go forward a little bit here, that's not looking like the Survivor 50 logo to me. We don't see the Survivor 50 above. We don't. I mean, it's tough to tell, but I'm pretty sure that is the David versus Goliath logo, so not too much to know here. And then we cut to current Mike White. Here he is. He's got a hat on. He's got that kind of red plaid shirt that I talked about earlier. We cut to what I believe is Joe. This is Joe's arm. He's got a white bandana around his arm. I'm not sure what that means. He's holding appears to be a sweatshirt or something like that in the purple polo we talked about. We see his daddy-o tattoo. I believe that is Joe. So a lot of Joe so far, based on the little tidbits we've seen. In terms of, we saw Joe a few times, mostly in the background, but maybe the person showing up the most so far. We've also seen a lot of Colby in various shots, and obviously we got a little bit of focus on people. Ozzy's also shown up quite a few times in shots, so probably like Joe and Ozzy have shown up the most so far. Here we have Angelina in, again, like that kind of teal-looking tank top. So that does seem to be the same type of thing she was wearing in her photo from earlier. We're not entirely sure who this is on her left, but on her right, we see a purple sleeveless shirt over there, which we do know to be Chrissy, because we're going to see that right in the next shot here. Here is Chrissy, and she's standing next to, I think that this is Joe. The shirt looks blue for some reason. It definitely looks light blue in this shot, but I think it looks like Joe's haircut, and the same type of polo as he was wearing earlier. So I'm assuming she's standing next to Joe. We'll find out later in the full sequence. Here we have a shot of Q close up. And then we get, of course, Christian. He's rubbing his chin here. Take a look, completely clean-shaven Christian, normally rocking a beard in real life nowadays. So a change up for Christian. Standing next to Ozzy on his left, on his right. It's tough to say. Appears to be a blue shirt. Could be Rick Devens. Could be a lot of people. Here we are with Aubry, wearing a light blue collar with some stuff underneath. Do believe that this is Aubrey's outfit. Appears to be standing next to Colby to her right in that classic denim shirt he's been wearing all trailer. And then we get Jonathan Young with that headband that we saw him in earlier. Cut to black. Everything. So we do have Jeff here saying he wants everything from them this season. So definitely going to be intense. Then we get 50 in a big vortex of fire. Pretty sweet here. We get a helicopter. This is reminiscent of the Heroes vs. Villains helicopter. I know they wrote it on I don't know when else they've had helicopters. I mean, they've had helicopters, I think, on other seasons, but really, Heroes vs. Villains is what I really recall. So I'm not sure what this helicopter is doing here, but it could be reminiscent of Heroes vs. Villains. Then we get a shot of Jenna Lewis here. This is, again, I believe, an older shot of Jenna Lewis. I'm trying to tell what season exactly this is from. It's tough to tell. I would assume this is a shot from Borneo. I don't remember what season she had that hat on, but definitely an older season.
50 is a celebration.
And then we get a current shot of Jenna Lewis looking at some leaves.
The game that created my entire life.
Game that created her entire life. Here she is with like an orange shirt over a purple shirt over like some pink pants. Again, it appears like they didn't really know what tribe they were going to be on. She's got orange and purple and like teal socks. So they're kind of like she's kind of wearing every color, which kind of gives us a little bit more insight into not knowing what tribe they're going to be on. We get Cirie in a pink hat. I probably from Panama. I'm not sure. And then we get another shot of Cirie. I'm assuming this one's a shot from Micronesia, but again, this is all just like analysis. Of course, we do get a shot of Cirie in Game Changers. We do see the Game Changers buff there, so that is pretty clear. I believe that's Michaela in the background. I think
for me, it's definitely unfinished business.
Definitely unfinished business. Again, we see her with that haircut we saw the photo of earlier, and like kind of a tealish shirt, which does add up with that photo that I predicted it was a Survivor 50 photo. We also see, I think, is that a necklace that says Cirie? I'm not positive, but I think her necklace says Cirie, which is kind of iconic. So we can move forward. We do get a shot of Colby here. We do see some helicopters again. This does appear to be All-Stars, I think. So maybe that shot of Jenna was from All-Stars earlier, and that's what the helicopter was relating to. Because this does seem to be, what was his tribe? The Mogo tribe, maybe? Buff? Because that definitely is the All-Stars logo. So I think that was probably a shot of Jenna from All-Stars earlier, now that I take a look at it. I did not know they had helicopters in the intro of that season. And then we get a current shot of Colby in that denim shirt.
Shots am I going to get?
How many chances are going to get? We get another confessional from him. Again, this appears to be pretty early. This is probably first confessional filmed. I assume all three of these confessionals are like the first ones they filmed when they land on the beach. Not a whole lot to glean from any of these. No facial hair. Nothing's really changed. And then we get a shot of Q. I do believe that this is a shot of Q from Survivor 50. Because we see him running past the Survivor 50 logo here. That appears to be like the Magenta tribe. So this is a pretty epic first challenge we've seen of Survivor 50 so far in the trailer. Running past Jeff. Jeff's excited. It appears to be one of those challenges where you have to like climb up a wall at the end. You run through some mud and climb up a wall. Pretty classic like first challenge in Survivor new era. That seems to be a lot of challenges. They roll up on the beach and the very first thing they do is they run through some mud and then they climb up a wall at the end. And so if I had to predict, this is probably literally the first thing they're doing when arriving on season 50. So probably not too much to glean from this, but we do see Q running up the Magenta wall, so we know that he is on the Magenta tribe. We also see the Teal tribe right next to him, so Teal tribe's in the middle, and we see a tiny little glimpse, I believe, of the orange wall in the bottom corner as well. So orange is on the far right side of the platforms, and we get a shot of Q here.
And I'm going to cancel everything that you can cancel. Your Christmas, your vacation, your doctor's appointment.
So, classic Q, really funny. We do see, I'm not sure if this is the same shirt that he was wearing in the previous shot, because this is a long sleeve shirt. This appears to be a short sleeve shirt, like a polo type thing here. The buttons do not go all the way down, so it does appear to be a polo. So this is a different shirt than he was wearing in the other shot. For what that's worth, does that mean anything? I don't know. But the shirt is very clean, so that's something. Could be filmed even before the game starts, maybe.
Cancel everything that you can cancel. Your Christmas, your vacation, your doctor's appointment.
Using his classic Q quotes, we once again get the number 50 in fire. And then reveal of the Beast Games Survivor coin. Ain't this great? Aren't we happy? This is what we all wanted, right? We all asked for Beast Games Survivor coin. Obviously we will see more of Beast Games later in the trailer, but this is the first glimpse we get to see. And it appears it's not just Mr. Beast being a survivor. It is a tie-in with Beast Games, the show. Which, why are we doing this? I don't know. Very strange. But, so this does tell us that it's not just about Mr. Beast being there. It is some sort of kind of tie-in with the show, which we do know from the Beast Games trailer that they go to Survivor and Jeff is there as well. But, yeah, very interesting to see the actual Beast Games coin, the text and the logo here. We can see what's on the back of the coin as well. Appears to be kind of a crossover logo here with the Mr. Beast lightning crossing over the Survivor torch. So we can predict that maybe this coin is going to be something in the game, like flip a coin. It's tough to say what this could be. Maybe it's, if I had to predict right now, maybe at the auction, there's some sort of thing. They're flipping a coin because it does seem like Mr. Beast is in the auction later. Maybe it is a deal where two people bid the same amount on an item, and they had to flip a coin to decide who gets it. That could be this coin. I don't know why they would have a special coin for that, but could be the case. Otherwise, it could be an advantage. It doesn't look like an advantage to me. It just looks like a normal coin. But it could be some kind of coin advantage. It could be like a do or die situation, or who had this advantage? There was someone in Survivor history had some sort of advantage that was like you flip a coin and like one side is you're safe and the other side is not safe. I don't remember who that was or what that was. Could be that. I don't think it's that, but it could be. And then we get what I think this is just a shot in the dark die here. There with a sun on one side and like the earth on another side. We don't know. I don't know. I don't have anything else on this die.
In the hands of the fans is.
So we do hear Ozzy's voice here. We'll see him in a moment. So we do see everyone here for the first time. We see Savannah front and center with, I believe, Camilla right behind her. Jenna Lewis over here. What appears to be Genevieve, I think, right behind Jenna Lewis. Christian, Rizo, Coach, Charlie, Ozzy behind Charlie. We got Tiffany over here in like a stripy shirt. This person in the blue hat, I believe, is a worker, just like these people on the right side. It's part of the crew, so part of the crew member. And then on the other side, we have Stephenie. Someone behind Stephenie, kind of tough to tell who that is. We get Rick Devens, Mike White, Aubry with that like patterned shirt she is known for. We get Colby, a little tiny glimpse of Colby behind there. It appears Jonathan Young is standing up in the back. And we get Q on the very end in what one of his purple shirts that we see him in. Tough to tell what shirt. We also see a little glimpse of Cirie in the back here. And someone that it looks to be turned around. Maybe Angelina, tough to say. But everyone's on the boat here. It appears to be most of the people.
Pandora's box. The fans.
We do also, before we move on to that, get the shot of Ozzy. Also probably pretty early shot there. And then finally we get a glimpse of the entire tribe all together. And we can go break down this whole shot. We see a lot in this one. We do get a lot of info from this one spot here. We see Jeff over here with the buff stand that we saw earlier. We also see what appears to be a thing that you light fire. So this seems like a thing that you would light a big fire in. So that probably is like the end of this challenge that they're going to do. They have to light this big fire. So now that I'm seeing this, I think that challenge I saw earlier that I talked about that was like Q running up the wall must not be the first thing they do. Maybe that's the first immunity challenge. And this is kind of the first reward challenge, actually. Or that could be later in the season, that Q shot. It's tough to say. So that is not the very first challenge, confirmed. The Q running up the wall. Because we do have this. We see some bags. We see the tribes. Pink, like teal and orange. We get a little glimpse of the orange tribe name in the back there. It's tough to see. It looks like it says like Kala, something like that. It definitely ends in L-A. It's tough to tell what the two letters are behind Emily's leg there. I do know that the other tribes we will see the names of later. But we don't get to see a clear shot of the orange tribe. So that's the best we got. Maybe Kala. That's the best we got. But here we have all of the members of the season. All the cast members. We get Jonathan Young here. Emily Flippen. Potentially the first sighting of Emily Flippen. I think we might have seen a small glimpse of her on the tarmac. It was tough to tell. But we definitely get Rick Devens here very clearly in that shirt. We saw him in Ozzy in the camo. We get Christian in his robot shirt with the blazer. We do see Kyle here in this dark blazer. I think this does confirm to me that very first shot we saw, I do believe is Kyle, I think confirmed by this sequence. We see him in this dark blazer. It looks like he's got kind of a sweater on underneath, and the gray pants is, I think, a big giveaway here. So that does appear to be Kyle, the very first sighting we see in the Survivor 50 trailer. We'll see Mike White next to him, then Q, then Angelina, we know, is standing right next to Chrissy, who is standing next to Joe, holding that thing. So we do know that this was Joe, Joe's arm from earlier with the tattoo, very clearly from this shot. Cirie, Genevieve, Camilla with the yellow shirt I pointed out at some point earlier. We got Coach, Colby, Aubry. This also tells me why I thought it was Aubry walking on the tarmac at the beginning because of the short jean shorts and the blue socks. That does appear to be Aubry in that one shot. Then Tiffany, Rizo with that kind of red shirt that we saw maybe standing next to Ozzy earlier, though that could have been a lot of people. Savannah in her sweater. And then we get this shot of D, which is pretty tough to tell exactly what she's wearing. We do see what appears to be probably a red tank top with some kind of overshirt, and these tan pants, these tan cargo pants are the giveaway of that shot of the person holding the bag at the beginning of the trailer. It does appear to be D right here with those pants, and so that she's probably wearing that sort of red plaid shirt, that like flannel shirt we saw at the beginning. And then of course Jenna Lewis, and then Stephenie grabbing her hair. Could be the same shot we saw of her like grabbing her hair being, you know, earlier. And then Charlie right on the end with his blue stripes. So yeah, get a very clear glimpse of what everyone is wearing. Confirms a lot of people we've seen so far in the trailer, giving us a lot of little bits of info here. Not a whole lot to glean from this, but we're getting there.
Things that impact this game.
Then we get a close-up on Savannah appearing shocked right here. We can play this clip. Oh, she's shocked. This shot is interesting because, A, this is a very clear shot of Savannah. It reveals that Savannah from Survivor 49 is on the season, which was not announced prior to this trailer coming out officially. However, Savannah is standing in front of Rick Devens right here, which she was not in the previous shot. So we know that this is not from this scene of Jeff talking. This is from later in the show. She is, I believe, still wearing her sweater. So she's wearing the same stuff. It looks like Rick Devens is wearing the same stuff as well. Doesn't look too disheveled, so probably not too far into it. And we do see water in the background, so this could be potentially the water challenge we see later in the trailer, though it's tough to say for sure. But she is shocked about something, so we know that she lasts to at least a second challenge, presumably. If this is the water challenge, I mean, I would predict they probably won't have more than 2 challenges in the premiere. I don't think. Maybe. I mean, it could be... but it has to be, there wouldn't be more than 2 challenges in one round at least. So we know that the first challenge is the Light the Fire challenge that we saw earlier. And then presumably the challenge where Q climbs up the rope or climbs up the wall. So those are probably the first 2 challenges, which means that we could be seeing a third challenge, which would imply a second immunity challenge or reward challenge. So we can see some people that maybe don't make it, don't get voted out first. If we predict that. We didn't see Camilla here. Now with her buff, confirmed Teal Tribe member Camilla standing here with, we can tell, Jonathan Young. This is D with that flannel we saw. This is Mike White. This is how I know that the 2 flannels were different, because we see them in the same frame. Mike White, his shirt. This, I believe, is Coach in the background as well. We get a quote from Camilla.
You have to be ready for anything, which is scary.
So that's kind of like a big shot from Camilla here, getting a pretty big quote. We gotta be prepared for anything. She looks over, she smiles, and then we see her in confessional. Again, this is probably pretty early confessional, like the Ozzy one. Just talking about the twists of the game. Then we get a shot of Ozzy climbing through some mud. And flipping his hair. We see him with the orange buff. We see that he's on the Orange Tribe, confirmed. So this is probably the same challenge where Q climbs up the wall, if I had to guess, because they're climbing through the mud, and we know that Q was covered in mud. So probably the same challenge here. And then we get a shot of a bunch of people running down some nets, which seems like it's probably the same challenge, I would assume. But, I mean, we don't know for sure. We get Kyle in the front here. This is the Magenta Tribe, so we get a pretty clear shot of all the Magenta Tribe. Kyle, Colby, Angelina, Genevieve, Rizo, Q, I believe that is Stephenie, and Aubry right here. So we see all of them running down this net. This probably is like one of the first obstacles of the challenge, if I had to guess. We also see over here in the Teal Tribe, we see Mike White, we see Tiffany, we see Coach, we see Jonathan Young. Speaking of Jonathan Young, here he is jumping off of a platform where we can very clearly see the Teal Tribe is called Kahlo. Not sure how to pronounce these words, so bear with me. But we see the Teal Tribe is Kahlo, and he's on the Teal Tribe. He's leaping off the ledge, in which we see Genevieve over here on the Vatu thing, which is the Magenta Tribe. So we can very clearly see what tribes they are on and the names of the tribes. So that is a big reveal in this shot right here. We do again see this is the water challenge that I was talking about earlier, which I have to assume isn't the first thing. Now, it could be the fire one is just fight for tribe supplies, and then they have fight for tribe supplies and a reward challenge and an immunity challenge, although it's unlikely. So if I had to predict, I feel like I would predict that this challenge right here, this water challenge, is probably the second immunity challenge or reward challenge potentially. Probably second immunity challenge if I had to predict. So that is telling us some people that probably aren't getting voted out first. Jonathan Young and Genevieve being two of them so far, if I had to predict. But that, of course, is not given for sure. We also have Orange Platform. Here they are in front of the nets, which is probably the first immunity challenge, is my prediction from earlier. But again, these could be out of order, so it's tough to know for sure any of these. We do see a lot of the Teal Tribe here, close up here. We get D and Mike White and Camilla, Charlie, and Tiffany. Charlie and Tiffany, 46, reunited, standing right next to each other.
Oh my god!
We see Camilla go, oh my gosh. So something cool just happened. It's tough to say. This seems to be an action shot, so someone is probably doing something, I think. I mean, this doesn't look like a shot of Jeff saying something, but it could be. It's kind of tough to tell what is going on. Could be Q jumping up the ledge. I don't know. Tough to say, but we do see Coach as well on that tribe. And I believe that is... Who's that on the end? Who else is on that tribe? Must be Chrissy, I guess, right? Or that could be a different tribe, I guess. Tough to tell who that is. So that is them. Then we get a shot of Zach Brown from the Zach Brown Band. Rolling a little bit of chicken fried. He's carrying a fish onto the beach. Seems like he's part of some kind of reward. Like he's bringing them a fish. I don't know, like they win Zach Brown and he helps them out for a day. Or he just brings them a fish, whatever it is. And then we get a shot of Rizo here in his red shirt. Seems to be a different red shirt than he was wearing earlier, but I'm not positive. He's saying Zach Brown's on Survivor. And then, of course, we get a shot of Rick Devens here, a little bit disheveled. It looks like his tie is loose. He doesn't have his sweater on. His shirt's a little dirty. So there seems to be a little bit, like, not immediately in the game. He's reacting to something surprising. And then we get him here in another shot wearing something completely different with a teal-colored shirt and kind of like a magenta pant short.
Boomerang eye.
Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol is what he says here. Now, this could be nothing. Could just be me reading into something that's nothing. Does this not look like the Mr. Beast colors? We know Mr. Beast is in this show. Rick Devens looks like he's wearing the Mr. Beast uniform. I think it's unlikely considering we have a teal and a magenta tribe on the season. Probably just Survivor 50 colors. Again, them just wearing any of the colors, not knowing which tribe specifically they're going to be on. But does seem like Mr. Beast to me. I don't know. And then we get a shot of Christian Hubicki here. Looking like he's growing a little bit of facial hair, a little bit disheveled. He's not wearing his jacket that he was wearing earlier. So this seems to be a little bit later in the season, not an immediate thing. He says Jimmy Fallon might decide his fate in the game. And he's surprised about something. It's kind of tough to tell what's going on. If we look at this previous shot, it does appear, I thought maybe he was next to a pillar, but it does appear like this is just the forest and some trees. there's like something hanging above him. I think that's just a stick, so, or a tree branch. So nothing too significant about what he's actually doing there. Just sort of random jungle. And then here we get the big reveal of the Mr. Beast logo on a suitcase. Welcome to Survivor, Mr. Beast.
I brought a briefcase.
And here is Mr. Beast in the flesh on the show. If we take a look back at this case that he has, we do see the Mr. Beast logo with some Survivor torches, akin to the tails side of the coin that we saw earlier. So somehow the coin is probably connected to this briefcase. Again, I'm thinking maybe you flip a coin to decide who gets the briefcase. Seems like it's at an auction, which is probably later in the season. Tough to say. And then we see the Survivor 50 logo with a massive fire around it. We've seen this before. We get a shot of Ozzy covered in mud. Appears to be probably a current shot of Ozzy. This is Survivor history. I believe that is Stephenie's voice right there. I'm not positive for sure if that is Stephenie's voice, but I think that is Stephenie saying...
Season 50 is the biggest moment in Survivor.
Biggest moment in Survivor history. And then we get a shot from current Ozzy to young Ozzy. This is... Now, I don't think this is a Cook Islands buff. I'm not positive. It could be. I think that this is potentially it could be a Cook Islands buff. I'm not sure what tribe that is. Could be a Micronesia buff, but it's definitely one of his first 2 seasons because he's got the short hair here, winning immunity. And then we see Aubry. This is a Game Changers shot. Again, her winning a challenge here. So her winning immunity, presumably. And then a shot of Stephenie. She's having a hard time. This is an old... Oh, goodness me. Lost my place. An old shot of Stephenie. She's got chains on her wrist. I don't even remember what this was for. I really don't. But this is definitely one of her first 2 seasons. I don't believe that this is Heroes vs. Villains. I think this might be Guatemala, honestly, but I'm not sure. And then here we get another shot of the infamous water challenge that we've seen a little bit of throughout this trailer. So we can take a look at the water challenge here. We see Aubry up on the Vatu platform leaping into the water, holding something. It looks like a sock. It's not. I know what it is. It's a little breaker. It's a little wooden breaker thing because we will see that momentarily. So she's smashing something up on top to probably release something. We also see Genevieve on her tribe on the far left, standing over there on the Vatu platform. And then we see Savannah walking for the Orange Tribe. I think we don't know the name of the Orange Tribe specifically. The Teal Tribe is in between them. So Savannah seems to be on the far left platform of the 3. It's got some hoops around her on the Orange Tribe, wearing the leopard print that she also wore in Survivor 49 as well. So seems to be some sort of thing where you have to bring a bunch of hoops to the end. Probably, if I had to guess, this is a challenge of collect the hoops as you go along, and then you have to throw the hoops onto a platform at the end. Well, not a platform, but onto a thing of some kind at the end of the challenge. That's my guess on how this is going, but not positive. We then get a shot of Rick Devens finishing a puzzle on Survivor Edge of Extinction. Old shot. We get D winning a challenge on Survivor 45. We also hear in audio.
This is the Survivor Coliseum. It's do or die.
We get Tiffany saying this is the Survivor Coliseum. This is do or die. So we get an audio clip of Tiffany. We also get a shot of Jonathan Young here on Survivor 42. Probably this appears to be the merge. They're all wearing purple buffs. We get a whole bunch of his tribe mates around him. Marianne, Omer, Mike, Drea, all there. Lindsay, he's done something. And then we get a shot of Joe. This is current Joe, Survivor 50 Joe. He is smashing a thing of some kind. This is the same thing we just saw Aubry doing, so that it appears that you have to go up to the top of the platform and smash one of these things, and then it comes up onto the ground. It seems to be that you are getting a key. I think a little key on a buoy appears to be what this is. So if I had to guess, you're smashing this, getting a key, and then you probably have to swim down and unlock those rings from a thing that's underneath that's locked in, and then you unlock that, and then you bring the rings up, and then you have to carry the rings across a balance beam. Seems to be probably what this is. You smash, you get the key, unlock the rings, then carry the rings across the balance beam, and probably throw the rings on something at the end. So we get Joe here smashing this, and we get an audio clip of Joe.
I don't just want to win, I do want to make a statement.
I don't just want to win, I do want to make a statement. Pretty cool, pretty epic statement here from Joe on the Orange Tribe. Then we get Chrissy. This is, I'm pretty sure, an old clip of Chrissy from HHH. Does appear to be the Heroes, Healers, Hustlers logo on our buff, winning immunity. Then we get Charlie winning an individual challenge on Survivor 46 with his grip strength, as we know he's so good at. And then we get Coach. This is Coach on Token Sheens, I think, on Exile Island. This is, I believe, the Forza Merge Tribe buff. So this is probably from the Martyr approach, if I had to guess. Kissing into the sky. And then we get Stephenie here. Stephenie standing next to Charlie in the blue striped shirt we see over on the left. And Jenna Lewis putting her face on her. They're hugging. We know that they were standing next to each other in the full line. So this is just another shot from that full line that we saw earlier where Jeff is introducing the whole thing. We get to see a glimpse of the snuffer here for the season. It appears to be like a phoenix of some kind, which we know we voted for the phoenix to be like the immunity necklace. So it seems to be kind of a tied in there with this kind of phoenix logo being kind of the main design of In the Hands of the Fans. We get a shot of Coach and Colby in the very first challenge of Heroes versus Villains. Ozzy, I did check what season this is from. This is Ozzy from Survivor South Pacific this time. I believe he's competing against Brandon Hance in the Hold On to a Pole challenge. So that is an old shot of him. We also get a shot of Camilla here once again in front of Unforgettable. The kind of text in a Survivor 48 challenge does appear to be the merge here as well, as she's wearing the blue merge buff for that season. We have a shot of Christian, David versus Goliath. This is a very infamous challenge that he wins there. We get Kyle winning the final immunity challenge of Survivor 48 here in this shot. And then we get a shot of Jeff on Survivor 50 pulling a rope. This is, I presume, a merge challenge. It does appear to be an individual challenge. We see yellow painted on, which is not the color of any of the tribes. So there seems to be, as Survivor does nowadays, they paint all of the kind of merge like sections different colors. So I have to presume that this is a shot of Jeff testing one of the merge challenges, I guess. I'm not sure what this is for. Maybe he's just kind of showing it off to the players. People have done a lot of like trying to figure out what this is. What is he doing? I assume it's either just him demonstrating the challenge, or maybe it's like promo for like, if you think this is hard, then apply for Survivor. Probably that type of thing. One of those two. I don't think he's actually like competing or struggling here. It's just like for show. And then we get some shots, what appears to be on the airplane, of Colby, Cirie, Jenna, and Q. So once again, we get this kind of motif of 4 players, which is the same motif that we saw earlier in the trailer, which is these 4 players, Colby, Cirie, Jenna, and Q. They got kind of the 4 big confessionals in a row earlier in the trailer. And then once again, we see these 4 being represented here. 3 shots of like kind of the old school contestants on the plane, and then a shot of Q in a challenge with, I believe that is Kyle behind him there. So he's struggling in some way. He's full of mud. This is probably the same mud challenge that we saw him in earlier. climbing up the wall. And then we get
like a high school reunion meets like a massacre.
Mike White here, giving our final confessional and soundbite clip of the trailer. Again, probably seems to be like his first confessional recorded. Not wearing his hat that he was wearing earlier, but he's wearing the same shirt. Everything's looking pretty in line, so seems to be the case. And then here we get 50 on an island with a woman holding it. This is a little bit Edge of Extinction reminiscent. This shot kind of looks like the shots that they would kind of iconography they'd use for the Edge of Extinction. I don't think Edge of Extinction is on the season, at least as far as we know, but it's definitely possible because this seems to be kind of similar iconography to the Edge of Extinction. So if there is Edge of Extinction, don't say I didn't warn you. And then here we get the Survivor 50 logo in the hands of the fans, all covered up here. So that is the whole trailer. I will also show just a little bit of bonus. They did release some commercials. They give us a little bit of bonus content to the trailer. Not very much. But we do see this shot from them on the walking the plane again. We get Jonathan Young, Cirie right behind, Joe behind that. So we've seen them. We also see here, we see Coach. So it seems like Coach was way out in front of Christian. We know that Aubry and Charlie are right behind Christian. We get Rizo here in his red shirt.
The greatest adventure on...
And we get Colby over here with Jonathan Young over there. That's pretty much it. Not too much to add. Well, just like a few extra clips that we did not see in the actual trailer in this commercial here. So interesting to see. And that is pretty much it. That is the Survivor 50 trailer analysis. And so I will talk a little bit about what I gleaned from this, give some general statements and some general predictions, and just vague vibes I'm getting from the trailer. And then I'll do a little bit of glimpse talking about the spoiler things that I discovered that I did not talk about yet. Again, we do see that group of 4, which appears to be significant. Q kind of being the representative of the whole new era in that group of 4. So that's interesting. It's not sure what that means, but they're definitely marketing it as those 4 are important in some way. But tough to say. Q definitely gets a lot of talking time. I believe he gets the most talking time in the trailer in this segment here. So tough to say if that's important or not. These are definitely big characters. So it makes sense to get a lot of screen time. I do think we get a pretty good amount of Joe in this trailer. Again, we see him here. He gets a spoken segment. I talked about earlier about how we got a lot of Joe with his arm. We saw him on the tarmac. So seems like a decent amount of Joe here. We get this big shot of Christian and Rick and Rizo. These are all shots of like talking about challenges and stuff though. Or not challenges, like advantages and like celebrities. So I don't necessarily glean that means much about their significance, but it does mean that presumably they last until those things happen. So we know that, if these don't happen in the first episode, they're going to be encountering these advantages or these moments at some point in the season. So presumably we can probably predict that those 3 make it at least a couple episodes until, Zach Brown and Billie Eilish start showing up on the island. Camilla gets quite a bit, and I will say right now, while I'm thinking about it, Camilla gets not necessarily a large amount of content in this trailer to me. We see Camilla in this shot, close up on just her, and then in confessional, and then right after we get the shot of her again speaking diegetically, which we don't see very many people speaking diegetically at all in this trailer, saying, oh my gosh. And then we get another shot of her again later in this challenge. Dare I say, this trailer, if I had to predict my winner pick based solely on this trailer, I think I would predict Camilla. And the reason is that she gets a lot of content here, a lot of focus. I think this is a pretty good quote from her. And I found it very interesting that she gets so much play and a direct confessional shot, which not many people get, despite being, like, with all due respect, probably one of the least famous people on the cast, you know, coming from a very recent season. Not the season that just happened, but like the season before that. Not the most popular season, not even like the most well-known person. You know, probably like Joe and Kyle, you know, they both made the final three, probably a little bit more well-known than Camilla. And, you know, she's getting quite a lot of content here. When people that are arguably more like known to the broad public barely get anything at all. We barely get any D. We get like no Emily. We get almost no Genevieve. We don't even really get very much Kyle. Camilla gets way more content than Kyle gets in this trailer, which is interesting. Yeah, so a lot of the other new era people are really not getting much here. And that does make me think, I think Camilla's going to be pretty significant to the season. I think she could be a real contender to go far and potentially win this thing. Not based on any like signs I see in the edit, just based on like the screen time here. Like some of these other people, like Cirie and Colby getting a lot of screen time, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, of course. And, you know, Mike White, you know, like, yeah, I totally get why all those people got a lot of screen time. There's not much to read into, but I can read into when someone who gets a lot of screen time is not shown very much. And that is Camilla here. I find it very interesting. So I would say be prepared. We might be getting a lot of Camilla in this season. And I dare I say, maybe my winner pick based on this trailer. I think she could do well. And she's painted quite a bit in this trailer. She's very low-key, under the radar person on the season. Not a bad pick. We also got a lot of Ozzy doing like challenges and stuff in this trailer. More Ozzy than I expected, honestly. So they're definitely, I would say like it's looking good for Ozzy, honestly. Just because I felt like I didn't think that he would be getting that much in the trailer. He got quite a lot of like flashback sequences and whatnot, a lot of him doing different things in challenges. So I would say things are looking good for Ozzy as well. I'm looking at Joe, I'm looking at Ozzy, I'm looking at Camilla as being people that kind of stand out here of getting pretty good content, better than I might have expected them to. Some people I was surprised didn't get much. You know, I mentioned Charlie also doesn't get very much. We see him here. He didn't get much. Tiffany does get a spoken segment, which is pretty good. Not much outside of that, but, you know, the spoken segment is certainly something. So, yeah, I mean, that's mostly a lot of my predictions here based on the trailer. You know, seems like, you know, these three guys probably going decently far. Camilla, I think, is going to be significant. I think Joe's going to be significant. You know, I think Ozzy's a little bit more difficult to tell because he's Ozzy, but he does get a lot of content here, so he might go further than you might expect. Old Ozzy. And, yeah, those are my predictions on this trailer. So, all that said, I will now talk about my findings that I found. So, if you're tuning out now, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Put a lot of work into thinking about all this and analyzing every single frame. But now, we're going to get into really the bread and butter here. And this could be real potential spoilers. So be warned. I don't even know. I don't have, like, it's not for sure given. But I did discover some stuff in here that I think you're going to want to see. Well, maybe you want to see, maybe don't. But it's too late. I already saw it. So, be warned. This may spoil some people that make the merge. That's all I know. Making the merge on the season. So, here we go. People making the merge. Be warned. First, we'll take a look at this shot here of Christian Hubicki. Christian, as we mentioned earlier, seems like he's grown out a decent amount of facial hair. If we take a look at that shot from him at the beginning of the trailer, he really, where the heck is this shot? Does not have any facial hair. Completely clean shaven here, right? And then we get this shot. We're just gonna mute this because we don't need the audio anymore. We get this shot of him with quite a bit of facial hair and what appears to be a red buff and a red tie tied around his arm. Not just a red buff, but also a red tie. Here's a very close-up shot of Christian with this red buff. Now you could say, oh, it's orange buff. Okay, it's orange. He's on the orange tribe. It's true. But let's take a look at some of these other orange tribe shots. If we look at this shot of Joe, we can see the orange tribe, what it's looking like. That is looking a lot more orange than this Christian buff. And the orange, we see like kind of the orange coloring on the platform as well. It's looking pretty orange. We can take another shot here of Savannah. Very clearly orange. Again, looking a lot more orange than this Christian buff. This Christian buff is looking pretty red in comparison to these orange buffs. And we get the clearest shot of them all right here with this Ozzy buff, where we see that's looking pretty orange. If we compare that here, that is a really orange buff, guys. This does not look like the same buff to me. This looks red. I don't know. It could be nothing. It does appear like the little designs, the flames, are looking kind of similar with like a pink magenta in the middle and yellow on the outside. But this is looking pretty red, and he's got the facial hair to prove it. I think this is Christian with a red merge buff making the merge. I don't know. Tough to say. That's what I think right here. That's my prediction. And so if that is the case, and I'm right about Christian, then we can take a look at this previous shot of Rick Devens. Take a look at this shot right here of the buff he has around his wrist. And we take a look at it. That's looking kind of red. That's looking like the red buff we just saw in Christian right here. Red. Red. Now this is much more difficult to tell, but it does look red to me. So, and again, he looks pretty disheveled. Rick does start with facial hair, so it's a little bit more difficult to tell compared to Christian how much it's grown. But again, he does look disheveled. He's wearing different clothes. He's got scrapes on his knees. I think we're looking at Rick Devens and Christian Hubicki making the merge on Survivor 50 based on these segments. Those are my findings. I figured that out completely on my own, by the way, while doing this. I think other people have seen this. I'm not like the only person who discovered this, but my frame by frame analysis did give me info as to finding that out. So very interesting to see that there with these two. And we will take a look at one more thing. I want to point out, we actually have to unmute this again. We're going to go over to when Mr. Beast shows up. Listen to the sounds of the people when Mr. Beast says his thing.
Beast, I brought a briefcase.
A lot of other people have pointed this out. I actually found this out from someone else. That really sounds like Rizzo in the background going, what? That really sounds like Rizzo. And it would make a lot of sense that Rizzo would be the person reacting the most to Mr. Beast showing up on Survivor 50. So that probably means Rizzo making it to when Mr. Beast shows up. And if that is the auction, we could be seeing Rizgod in the Survivor auction on Survivor 50, presumably. We also get another shot earlier of Rizzo, and I saw some other people pointing this out. Let's take a close look here at Rizzo's buff around his head. We get a really good look at it. This appears to be a magenta buff, which I believe is his starting tribe, with a yellow outline of like the texture pattern, like flame type thing they have here, and what appears to be like a kind of purplish magenta on the inside of that buff. Okay, so that appears to kind of be the case with his buff. But let's scale this back out. And let's take a look at some other designs of the magenta tribe. Remember that magenta with like yellow and a little bit of a purplish hue. Let's take a look at this shot right here of the magenta tribe here. Magenta with green outlined flame and blue on the inside flame. Green and blue. What tribe has that yellow and orange, that yellow outline? It's the orange tribe has that yellow outline, not the magenta. They have a green outline. Now, could be different. We don't see it clearly on a buff, but that does appear to be a different buff, potentially recolored. We know they've done this before. They recolor buffs. So could that be a recolored buff? We can try to take a look here. It's pretty tough to tell. We see the magenta buffs. It's tough to say for sure what they look like. I don't know. As far as I recall, I don't think there's a clear different shot of the magenta buff, but that definitely is a very clear sign of that. Actually, we can take a look. I have one other idea of where a magenta buff may be. Well, we have Q here, which I don't see the magenta buff on him. But we can take a look at this shot and see if there's any differences here. We can see Kyle's buff here. And it does look to me like we're looking at probably some bluish cyan flames there with a green outline. Again, very tough to tell there on Kyle. We have another shot of Rizgod here with around his head. Very difficult to tell. But if I had to guess, I think that's what's going on here. So could this be either a merge buff or the Orange Tribe buff? Not positive. It does appear that Christian's reddish buff we see here does have the yellow outline with the kind of magenta purple inside. So this could either be an orange buff that I'm mistaken, or it could be a red buff. Either way, that does appear to be the texturing that Rizo's buff has here with the yellow outline and the kind of purplish inside. So I think this could be a recolored buff in post, made to look like the magenta tribe, but actually it is either the orange tribe or a potential merge red tribe, which means that we do have potentially 3 candidates here of Rizo, Rick Devens, and Christian, all making the merge based on these clips we see here in the trailer. And I believe that's all. I believe that's all of the significant things I have to point out about this trailer. Super fun to go through the whole thing. This has been a long video. If you've stuck through the whole thing, thank you so much. It's been a real blast. Really excited for the season. A lot to go over here, a lot to analyze. Hopefully you gleaned some stuff here that you didn't notice the first time. But yeah, very excited. Hopefully we're looking at some good people making the merge here on the season. If my predictions on what those shots are correct, could be wrong. Who knows? But excited to see where it goes. And don't blame me if you're worried about spoilers. I told you that there were potential spoilers. So if I had to say, I think Rizo, Christian, and Rick Devens are making the merge. And on a random limb, Camilla is my winner pick. Those are the people that I got the most from in this trailer. I also got a decent amount from Joe as well, I felt like. So those are people I think that might be doing pretty well in the season. And that's pretty much all I got. Appreciate it. I will be back hopefully pretty soon with more Survivor 50 coverage before the season comes out, and maybe some other videos coming soon as well. I am going to be back when Survivor 50 comes out, analyzing the edit of the season every single week in order to predict who is going to win based on the edit of every single episode, doing Edgic for the episodes and making potential winner contender rankings. I go very in-depth analysis on every episode, just like I did here, very in-depth. So if you like that kind of content, please press that subscribe button and click the bell so you're notified every time I make a new upload, both when Survivor 50 starts and before then. And leave a comment. Any thoughts you have about the Survivor 50 trailer, your hopes, your predictions, what you enjoyed about this video, anything like that. I really appreciate it. I love to read the comments and respond to people. Super fun. And yeah, pretty much all I got. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I have been North, and I will see you all next time. Stay frosty, y'all.